welcome everybody to Once Upon a Town. I'm Joe Landry, and this is my co-host, Scott Mason.
How you doing, folks?
Good. Today we're going to talk about the schools in Franklin, the early years. And as I like to say every time I do a program, we talk about the Franklin Register, of town's first newspaper. The Franklin Sentinel was from 1878 to 1978. You'll see pictures and films from the Stanley Chilson collection, Sanborn fire insurance maps, and personal pictures and postcards that I've been able to get a hold of. And I always like to give a shout out to the Franklin Historical Museum, and you definitely want to get to see them. It's a really good place. So let's talk about the schools in Franklin. Around the year 1695, when Franklin was still a part of Wrentham, and long before the brick school was built, the first schoolhouse was constructed near the location of today's brick school. Well, there we go. Yeah. An article in the Franklin Sentinel said that the selectmen kept school in turn, one week at a time, and taught the children to read, write, and cipher gratis, whatever that is. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think that was?
Well, I'm looking at this, and I'm wondering what level of education they had, given the spelling of right.
I know it, huh? Well,
although that was probably the Old English version.
I bet you, yeah. So, in 1792, which was 14 years after the town of Franklin was incorporated, and before the brick school was built, 22 men, under the leadership of Dr. Nathaniel Emmons, formed the Meeting House School Division and obtained a lease for 900 years for the land where the brick school stands. And they subscribed $160.77 to build a schoolhouse, which was done and was sustained for 10 years. And again, this is before the brick school.
They got their money's worth.
I know it. Let's see, let's go to the next one. So the first grant of money was for the support of school was voted on in May of 1778, $200. Money was divided in proportion to the number of children that were living in each school district between the ages of 4 and 16. In 1796, the amount was $320. By 1897, $6,000.
Boy.
I know.
And of course, 1778 was a very important year in Franklin.
It was. Yep. In 1802, the first school committee was chosen. It was made up of Dr. Nathaniel Miller, Pelatiah Fisher, Captain Amos Hawes, Oliver Smith, and Deacon John Metcalf. Before this time, the schools were under the charge of the selectmen and clergymen. Now, in 1803, School District Number 1 was formed under the laws of the state, and a meeting was called by the selectmen. The first schoolhouse that was built there was bought from the former owners, repaired, and the Center School District was formed. This same schoolhouse was repaired again in 1815. Soon after the School District Number 1 was formed, 9 other districts were formed all around town and were taxed so that they could support them. Each district was taxed so they could support their own schoolhouse. And it should be noted that Norfolk had not been established as a town before then. So you can see where they were. School center district number 1 was near the brick school today, King Street, and so on and so on.
So these were really the precursor of the neighborhood schools that we came to know in the early, mid, and later 20th century.
Absolutely, because in those days, kids couldn't be expected to walk too far to school, and so they try to make it easy for them.
Sure.
And yeah.
Joe, do we have any information on the City Mills School? Because my mom grew up on City Mills Pond.
Yeah.
And that was Norfolk was part of Franklin, and you had those kids
Right.
had a choice of going either to Franklin or Walpole.
Yep.
But I never remember her ever saying anything about a City Mills School.
Well, there was a City Mill School.
Yes, I see it on there, and that's what begs the question for me. I wondered.
Yeah. Let's see.
I
City.
know where that cemetery is. I know that cemetery well at City Mills,
Right.
off of Park Street by Roger Trahans, but I never saw or knew of a school
Right.
in that location in the area.
Yeah, we're going to see a map in a minute. They'll show you where it was. But as far as any pictures of it, I don't have any pictures of it. But you'll see them. I'll show you in a minute. Yep. Good question though. It's district number 4, so we'll see number 4 on the map. Oh, here we go. Yeah, here we go, right here. Right here. So, let's see. Let me see. Let me get my bearings here. Yeah, well, it's in City Mills.
You just need to find the intersection of Chestnut and Pleasant.
Right. Okay. Here's Pleasant Street right here.
Yeah.
Pleasant Street goes like so.
Okay, Roger.
There you go.
Yeah, they look right where the cemetery was.
Okay.
It's in that crux.
There you go. Yep. Good.
Norfolk have any information on it?
They might. Yeah. Norfolk might have some
I know
information.
somebody on the historical commission.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. Yeah. We'll get back to you on that, Rick. Yeah. And then there's another map. There was a upper and a lower part of the map, and these show the different districts in the school where the schools were. Now this map is from 1832, so that's where those districts were around that time. So I thought that was pretty good.
Joe, do we know offhand how many students on average attended each school?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it would depend on the neighborhood. Probably not that many, really. And then what grade would they be? Well, I'm assuming that the kids would just learn a little bit of everything, probably.
Sure, they were all probably one-room schoolhouses.
Sure. Guarantee on that one. Yeah. Now there were some families that contributed largely to the support of schools in Franklin. The family of Joseph Ray contributed a large sum of money to Dean Academy when the first Dean Hall burnt down. They also built the Ray School. The David Steyer family sold their homestead land to the town, and the David Steyer High School was built there. And Dr. Oliver Dean, I mean, I'd say no more about him. Sure. Look at what he contributed to the town.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Horace Mann. I don't think any talk about schools would be complete without talking about Horace Mann. He was known as the father of the common school movement. He was born in Franklin in 1796. He graduated from Brown. He was a valedictorian too. And he served in the Massachusetts legislature from 1827 to 1837. And he was the secretary of the Massachusetts State Board of Education. And he even served in the U.S. House of Representatives, succeeding John Quincy Adams. And then he became the president of Antioch College until he died in 1859. And he was buried in Yellow Springs, Ohio. And his remains were later moved to Providence so that he could be buried with his second wife, Mary Tyler Peabody. So a lot of people say, well, I've been down to Union Street Cemetery and I see the Mann Monument and I see all the family there. Sometimes people assume he's there, but he's not. He's in Providence.
And he really was a national figure.
Oh, absolutely.
I think we tend to think of him, as a Franklin guy.
Right.
And interestingly enough, I happened to be on a business trip in Ventura Beach, California.
Ventura Beach.
And the high school in Ventura Beach, California is the Horace Mann High School. And when I saw that, I almost drove off the road. I couldn't believe that Horace Mann had national reach like that. But
absolutely.
That's just how narrow-minded we tend to think in Franklin, or at least in my case sometimes.
Yeah, he's a national figure. Yeah. And this is a picture from the 1878 book, History of the Town of Franklin by Mortimer Blake. And it shows what it looked like then. And here's what it looked like in later years. And they added on that tower and a little bit of addition on the back, but it looks basically the same as it did before.
It was quite a structure.
Oh, I know it. They made a hotel out of it before they tore it down. And then they tore it down. This monument they put up in 1931, the birthplace of Horace Mann, right there on East Central Street. Now, elementary public schools. The Brick School was obviously the first one we'll talk about. It was opened in 1832, and it served continuously as an elementary school until 2000. And I think, is that about the year that?
Yeah, that's about right, yeah.
It's not being used as a school now, though, right?
No, I believe it's being used for storage right now.
It's a robotics
Oh,
school.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, some of those wizard kids, right, that know how to build these things out of.
Oh, right, yeah. I see them down in town. Yeah, okay.
That building for that use.
For the little robotic things?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they've been at the town council meetings before with their projects.
Wow.
The engineers of the future.
Yep. Now, North Franklin School, and this is what it looked like. It was discontinued in 1945. You're probably thinking, wow, I know of a building that's similar to that.
Mm.
Well, you're right. That one. Down on Pond Street, right across from the Elks. The only thing they've added on was the side on the left side. But I remember when they still had the two doors, and I actually remember the building before they added on. I used to work at Clark Cutler. We had a meal down there a couple of times. And so we went into the door on the left. But anyway, that's what it's used for today. Now the South Franklin School, the one on the left shows a picture of it. The one on the right shows what it looks like today. Now this was on the corner of Prospect Street and Washington Street, and they moved it. And a gentleman by the name of John Lombardi owns it today. And that's what it looks like today. Wow, I couldn't believe it. Yeah. He provided me with that picture and a few other pictures too. Yeah. The Town Hall School. That's the original town hall. Today it's the Historical Museum. But in August of 1903, 2 rooms were prepared for pupils in the Franklin Town Hall. 50 desks were placed in each room, and blackboards were created by spreading a liquid slate on the walls, which was known as McIlwain's liquid slating. And this coating was as hard as slate and had been used for nearly 20 years in other places. And the cost was roughly 5 cents per square foot to install. So that's pretty good.
Those desks must have been pretty crowded together if they
Oh.
put 50 in each room, because as we know, that's not a big space.
I know it. And I assume it was all wide open at that time. It was just a hall.
Sure.
Yeah. The Unionville School. The Unionville School stood near where today's Conlin Avenue and Old West Central Street is, and it was discontinued in 1925. And I was asking some people, I said, wow, I wonder if it's still there. He goes, yeah, it's still there. I took a ride down, and sure enough, there it is.
Wow.
Yeah, it's set back from the road, but I said, wow. So if you go down Old West Central Street, and you go by Conlin Avenue, and you look on the right, there it is. Yeah. The Chapel Schoolhouse. Now this might not look too familiar. This was originally the Chapel Schoolhouse, and then it became the GAR Hall, the Grand Army of the Republic, and it was then it became the American Legion Hall, and it was demolished in 1963 to make way for the Franklin Police Station, which is right behind the fire station on East Street. The Nason Street School. And this is the Nason Street School. The east side of the building was opened in 1879, and the west side was opened in 1886. It served as an elementary school until it was discontinued in 1952. It's currently the site of the Henry Faenza Playground, Ski Faenza, right on Nason Street. The Arlington Street School. This is the Arlington Street School. It opened in 1886 at a cost of $2,862.17 and served as an elementary school. It was damaged by fire in April of 1937, but the damage was repaired. But in 1942, it was heavily damaged, and at that point, they tore it down.
I would assume that must have been common of a lot of the wooden school structures at that time.
Especially that one, because it was all the what do they call it, balloon construction, I think? Or,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, in fact, when you see the side of if you saw the side of it, you see the 2x4s run from cellar right up to the top, all that wide open.
Yep.
So when the flames get going, right through, and
No stopping it.
that's right.
Yep.
Yep. Central Square. Probably thinking, what? That's a schoolhouse? Well, this was where Franklin Furniture did business, downtown on East Central Street. In September of 1902, it was reported that rooms 608 and 610 would be made available to pupils in the newly constructed Morse Block. That's what that was, the newly constructed Morse Block, constructed in 1891. And it would be known as the Central Square School. They didn't use it for too long, but anyway, yeah, that's what they did. The School Street School, and they renamed it the William M. Thayer School in 1900. This one. This is the School Street School, which was built across the street from where the Ray School would be built. It's on School Street. It started out as the first Franklin High School. And we're going to talk about Franklin High School in a separate part. But it was the first Franklin High School, but it became an elementary school when the new high school was built. And in 1900, they renamed it the William M. Thayer School. It was demolished in 1947.
Reverend Thayer was a stern-looking individual, wasn't he?
William Makepeace Thayer.
Holy cow.
Yep. Oh, he was quite a guy, yeah.
You think he was related to our friends the Thayers?
I'm sure there's a lot of Thayers in Franklin. I would think so. I would think he'd be related to them, yeah. The Horace Mann Elementary School. Now, this is the one that a lot of people went to on Emmett Street. And we're going to talk about that. When we talk about high schools, we're going to talk about this again. But at this point, it was an elementary school. And we're going to talk about how it was reconfigured in 1935. More on that later. But that was one of our elementary schools. Oh, well, what they did is...
We're going to talk about it now.
Let's talk a little bit about it. When we talk about you'll see this building when it was brand new. But this is what it looked like when they were reconstructing it. In 1935, they decided to totally redo the building over and turn it into what we just saw. And many of the bricks were salvaged and reused. And my Uncle Fred and my Uncle Ray, his brother, one summer that he was like 12, 13 years old, and my uncle, the two of them were about that age, they were tasked by my Uncle Walter, who was an engineer on the job, to take the bricks and chip away all the mortar and everything so they could reuse the bricks. Imagine spending a summer doing that?
Nope, not even a little bit.
So he told me they had to do that. Yep. The total cost of the alterations, additions, and other modernization was $40,500. And the result was an eight classroom school building with a capacity of 361 students.
It was a big building in those days.
Oh, it was, yeah. And then Google Earth still had this on there, so I was able to capture it before they demolished it. That's what they turned it into, a municipal building. And then they demolished it, and they put that up, Horace Mann Square. And that's what it looks like today. The Ray School. I think I can see, I can see the designs on there. We were talking earlier about these designs in the brickwork.
And the peaks.
Yeah, and the peaks. You can kind of see them there.
I went to school there and I never noticed
I
them.
know it. Yeah. So this is the Ray School. It opened in 1907 as an elementary school. There were 4 classrooms in this building. Such a big building, but 4 classrooms. It was a gift to the town by Annie Ray Thayer and was built on land that had been previously owned by Davis Thayer. It was partially damaged by a chimney fire in 1935 and repaired, but in the early 80s it was heavily damaged and by fire again, and they demolished it at that point.
This was such an unusual building, Joe, in that
Yeah.
when they started building brick schools, all the others resembled each other.
Yeah.
Four Corners, the renovation of Horace Mann,
yeah.
even Davis Thayer had a common architectural theme to them.
Yep.
This building had this crazy Gothic theme that, you know, if you were 6 years old and in the first grade,
Yeah.
it would scare the daylights out of you. I can remember going there and saying, what is this place?
I know that.
You're right, 4 classrooms, they were all big.
Mhm.
And there were 2 on the second floor, 2 on the first floor. There were bathrooms in the basement, and the
Right.
basement was connected by this long hallway that you had to traverse.
Oh yeah, I remember it.
And as a 6-year-old, if you had to go to the bathroom, you would run down the hallway because we were just convinced that there was something in
Oh
there,
yeah.
you know, that was probably going to get us if we tried to walk.
It's funny you mentioned the bathrooms. One memory that I have, we had a Civil War defense drill. We had to go down to the basement. We were in the bathroom. They go, okay, everybody on your hands and knees and duck. Like in case of a nuclear attack. Wow. Such were the times in the 50s. The Theron Metcalf School. That opened up on Winter Street in September of 1913. It was named for Theron Metcalf. He graduated from Brown University in 1805 and was admitted to the bar in 1807. And for 12 years, he was the county attorney. And in 1828, he opened a law school in Dedham. In 1835, he was the chairman of the Judiciary Committee of the Massachusetts Senate. In 1848, he was appointed Associate Justice of the Massachusetts Supreme Court until he resigned after 17 years. In 1915, this was designated as a junior high school, and then 2 wings were added to the school in 1919. And it served as a junior high school until the early 2000s, and now it currently serves as housing for the elderly.
So both he and Horace Mann went to Brown.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Four Corners School. Now, there were actually 3 schools that were built where Four Corners School was. The first one, I don't have a picture of that one. It was a 1-room schoolhouse. The second one that was there was this one. It was a 2-room schoolhouse. I remember Bob Catalano was telling me he went to that one. Yeah. And it was at Four Corners, was the intersection of King Street, Chestnut Street, and East Central Street. And then the third one was located at Four Corners, opened in 1936 as a 4-room schoolhouse, and it was funded as part of the New Deal project. And it served as an elementary school till 1978, when it was used as an administrative building for the school department. Eventually, it was demolished, and today Walgreens Pharmacy is there. The Gerald M. Parmenter School. The Gerald M. Parmenter School on Wachusett Street opened in 1952 on land that had been donated to the town by the family of Gerald Murdoch Parmenter. He died in World War II. The family donated the land to the town for the school with the stipulation that the school be named for their fallen hero. And they did. The John F. Kennedy Elementary School. It opened in 1965, down on Pond Street.
You can see how distinctively different the architecture is now that we're getting into the 50s and 60s with these newer schools.
Well, it's my understanding that the newest high school that we have right now is the architecturally it's the same as other schools. I think it's one in Newton is the same. Is that right?
Yeah, there are several. It's basically a plan that towns can follow in order to get state funding. The state funding program no longer exists, but this plan can be adapted within parameters to fit certain needs within a school district.
Right.
And in the case of Franklin, we built this high school at a tremendous savings.
That's what I would think.
Because we were part of this program.
Right.
But it follows a similar architectural design as Ashland, I think Plymouth North, and there are a couple of other schools. But also it has architectural details based on our Franklin Library.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Tri-County Vocational Regional High School. That was built in 1971, and it serves as a vocational regional school for surrounding towns. Now, here's something I caught in one of the, in the 40s, one of the town reports. Tri-County was not the first vocational school that was constructed in front, well, it was the first, but back in 1945, there was a proposal to build a vocational school on Union Street between the Ray School on School Street and the Davis Thayer High School on West Central Street on that little plot of land. The project would have added 2 more grades to the front of the Ray School, and the new school would have had a machine shop, an aircraft shop, an auto shop, a woodworking shop, and a sheet metal shop. And they would have connected the buildings so that you could walk from the end of the Ray School all the way through the new school and all the way up, so like that, make it one big school. But it was only a proposal and it never got past the drawing board.
And that year was, sir?
1945. Yep. You could tell it was right after the war, and just when the war was ending, they figured all these guys coming home, give them an education to get back into the workforce.
The trade.
Yeah, trade, right.
Trade.
But they never got past the drawing board, unfortunately.
Sure, and it not only,
Aircraft shop. Why an aircraft shop?
well, that's a good question,
Yeah.
Jan. Actually, it was, so think about the time. So it was the end of World War II. We just came out of this major war where armament production, war material production was of utmost importance. So when they came out of that war, folks started having the mindset of, boy, we really need to be better prepared in case there's another one.
True.
So that was really kind of the beginning of the Voc School thought process. I'm surprised to see this. This is the first time I've seen this plan,
Really?
but I'm not surprised that people were thinking along these lines because there needed to be aircraft production people. There needed to be machinists. It was a very important time for defense in the United States.
And then, of course, in the late 50s, King Philip Regional High School was opened up as a vocational school. So they had that in mind too, sure. Now, this is from the 1928 annual town report for the town of Franklin. The high school was the Davis Thayer High School. Junior high school was Theron Metcalf. The Horace Mann School was the old high school before it was reconstructed. And Four Corners School was the two-room school. And the North Franklin School, is the VFW post today. So I thought it was interesting. It gives you a breakdown of the grades that were in those particular schools. Like the Ray School looks like it was grade 6 only. They had 4 different classes. Horace Mann School, 5th grade, et cetera, et cetera. So it's kind of interesting how they worked that out. The Brick School only had grades 1 and 2. Oh, and then North Franklin had 1 through 6. So there you go. And they had a number of students that were there. Wow. In 1926, they had 36 and 40. So they put a few kids in there. 1928.
Consistent the numbers were for 3 years. They're all 1,600 and right in the middle.
I know it.
Very consistent.
Yep. Now, Franklin High School. Let's talk about Franklin High School by itself. In 1868, Franklin's first high school was established. And it opened in May of 1868 with Miss Mary A. Bryant as the principal. And the town voted the sum of $4,000 to build the school. They came in under budget. They spent $3,948.53. Wow. And there it is, Franklin's first high school. It was erected in 1868. And like I said, it served as a high school until 1893, when a new high school was built on the corner of West Central and Emmons Street. And then this became an elementary school. And that was typical. Every time a school moved, like high school moved on to another school, they turned it into an elementary school. In 1900, it was renamed the William Makepeace Thayer School. He was the son of Davis Thayer Sr. And now, this is interesting. The course of study in high school. When you're in your first year, freshman year, those are the subjects you took. And then optional was natural philosophy was optional. And you notice that it's mandatory the following year. And then there was an optional one. Latin was optional in the second year, but it was mandatory in the third year. And then French was optional in the third year, and it was mandatory in the fourth year.
You were just deferring.
I know it. And then exercises in reading, declamation, and composition throughout the entire course was had, in which all the students would be expected to take part. So they had a test, big test.
What was declamation?
Declamation. I don't know.
Okay. Good thing we weren't in school back then. We would have been in trouble.
Oh, I know it. We would still learn how to write, W-R-I-G-H-T.
Right, exactly.
The Horace Mann High School. Now, this is the high school that was built on the corner of Emmons Street and West Central Street. In May of 1891, plans for this high school were in the hands of bidders, and in 1893, the new Horace Mann High School opened. It stood at the corner of West Central and Emmons. And it served as a high school until 1924, when the Davis Thayer High School opened. Then this became an elementary school until 1936, when it was reconstructed, as we talked about, and it became the Horace Mann School.
Now, interestingly enough, Joe,
Yeah.
the building that you see to the right of the school is still there.
Oh, yeah.
But you have to wonder what the architects were thinking. There's so much design in there that they probably didn't need for a high school. That tower is just kind of crazy.
I think sometimes designers, they want to make it a monument to themselves.
I guess.
Yeah. Yep. And then as we talked about, just to refresh your memory, this is what it looked like then. And there it is.
And they did away with the entire top section.
Oh, yeah, they took, yeah. Yep. The Davis Thayer High School. In 1921, the town realized that the high school on Emmons Street was becoming overcrowded and that a new high school was needed. So land was purchased from Adelbert Thayer, the son of Davis Thayer Jr., for $18,000. The Franklin Hotel was demolished and the new high school was constructed. It opened in 1925 with Albert Patty being named the principal. And the school served as a high school until 1962, when it was replaced by a new high school on Oak Street. It then became the Davis Thayer Elementary School until it was closed in 2022.
And you can see the Ray School behind it.
Yeah, the Ray School's there. Yeah.
Now, my grandfather was a builder in town
Mhm.
in that part of the 20th century.
Is he a Mason?
He was he was awarded the contract to build the cafeteria
Oh.
in that school.
Cool.
I went to the open house. They wanted to get feedback on what they should do with the building.
Yeah.
I didn't even recognize the inside.
Oh, really? You didn't recognize it?
There were more classrooms. They were carpeted. There was
Wow.
closets in the classrooms.
Really? Wow.
I got lost in the building.
And Davis Thayer Sr. This is a picture of him that was taken from the 1878 book, History of the Town of Franklin by Mortimer Blake. He was the son of Nathaniel and Rhoda Thayer. They came to Franklin in the early 1800s. And he was married to Betsy Thayer, and 4 of their children lived to maturity: Davis Thayer Jr., Emery Thayer, the Reverend William Makepeace Thayer, and Betsy Ann Thayer. Now that was the homestead. That was the Davis Thayer homestead, and that was at that corner where the Davis Thayer School was. Then it was turned into a hotel called the Franklin House after the homestead was redesigned. And when the first Dean Hall burnt to the ground in 1868, this building was used as a dormitory until the new Dean Hall was built. Yeah, they even had a band. In 1926, the principal, Albert Patty, formed a band, and it was $200 it was funded by $200 from a students' activity fund to purchase instruments. Now, Franklin High School. Now, this is the high school I went to, and Rick, you went to that one as well.
Too.
Yeah, and you too, yeah.
4 years of double sessions.
Oh, you had double sessions then. Oh, my God. Oh, my word. Yep. So in 1962, the newest Franklin High School opened on Oak Street. And that served until 1970, when it was replaced with yet another new Franklin High School, the one with the field house. We'll see a picture of that in a minute. This then became an elementary school, and it was expanded in 2004 to become the Horace Mann Middle School, the Oak Street Elementary School, and the F.X. O'Regan Early Childhood Development Center. We're going to talk a little bit about that in a few minutes.
And this had to be an example of probably the worst planning for the construction of a new school in the history of Franklin, because shortly after it opened, it was overcrowded, and that's why they went to double sessions.
Wow.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but it was 6 to 12 was the first session, and 12 to 6.
That early?
No, 9 to 12.
Not 9 to
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
Wow.
Okay.
No, I was going to say 6 in the morning. Ew.
It's troubling that they seem to be on a course when you watch the schools prior to that.
You mind using a mic? Because that way, if you're going to tell a story, that everybody can hear it.
But do I have to push a button?
Nope.
It seems troubling that we saw so much of the one story. It seemed like we weren't worried about saving the land back then, and we'd spread this all out and use up property. Nowadays, you can't do that. Now you have to go up, and we saw it a little bit in the back wing of that school.
Right.
But a lot of it we saw was all one story, and it wasn't fiscally prudent, for heating and that sort of thing. We
Right.
could never do such a thing today because we don't have we need to be more conservative,
Right.
and we need to save the land because there isn't any anymore.
That's right.
Well, the
Very
the
good.
design of the school in and of itself wasn't bad. They followed the contours and elevation changes of the land, which is why you've got that second story wing that comes off of the back of the building.
Right.
They just didn't have a handle on the numbers. The other phenomenon that happened back then was that first migration of folks moving out of Boston. and coming into the suburbs. So,
Right.
so I don't know if they just didn't, you needed a crystal ball to figure it out or what the case was, but they just couldn't see that this was going to happen. And then all of those neighborhoods that popped up, all that new housing that was built in the early 60s came about and flooded this school.
Yep, like Harborwood and
Yep.
Long Hill Road.
Yep.
Redland Park.
To your point, flooded. If you look at the center of that school,
Yeah.
see the opening, which is what the court
Mhm.
Yeah,
yard?
yeah.
To this day, and I know because I was a custodian within that school, they have to keep a custodian on watch all the time because to this day, that courtyard still takes on water.
Oh,
Because
gee.
as we know, it's downgrade from the
Oh,
senior center.
right.
Remember the hill we used to fight on, Joe?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
That's all downgrade.
Yep.
So this school would always have a water issue.
Oh,
and
wow.
maybe that had something to do with the other days.
Wow.
Again, the continued down.
Yeah.
My class was the last class. My class was the last class to graduate from that school.
Oh, really? Wow.
Then the following year, the new high school was
That's
built,
right. The one with the
which
field
my
house.
son went to, and that was demolished.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They made one design change on this, I noticed. They had the door would here and come out this way.
Mm.
They did away with that, so they made a last-minute change on the design. This is just an architectural drawing. The only really good picture I could get of it. This was in that little pamphlet that you got with the when you graduated. But other than that, it was basically the same. And then the 1971 school, there's the field house. And you can see the skating rink up there. So, yeah. I don't know. And then in 2014, the newest high school. There it is. Yeah. Now, St. Mary's Parochial School. Now, Franklin had two parochial schools. The first one was built in 1893. In September of 1893, the parish established a school with roughly 200 pupils enrolled. Classes were held in the church, and this was St. Mary's Church that was there at the time. Classes were held in classes down in the basement of the church, and there was a home on Oak Street that was owned by the Fitzgerald family. They also had classes in there. And so, and then they found that students, they found that students who attended this school had transferred from the public school system. And as a result, it left the town with 2 or 3 more teachers than they needed. So it also meant that 1 or 2 of the town's schools had to be closed, with the remaining pupils being transferred to other schools. Wow. And then, in 1898, the school had expanded enough to justify the construction of a new school building for a parochial school. This was at the corner of Beaver Street and Oak Street, and Union Street, kind of like, this is Beaver Street going down here. In 1900, the church burnt to the ground, and so the basement of this building was used as a church, a chapel. In 1902, the school closed, and so then they turned this into St. Mary's Church because this church had burnt down. But now, the decision to close the school caught the town school committee by surprise and left them unprepared to provide for the 247 pupils who had been divided into 9 grades. So now they got to put them back in the public school system. So what a mess that was. So after a meeting with the school board, it was decided to mingle the 1st and 2nd, along with the 8th and 9th grades of the new pupils with the regular ones. Places for the other grades were found soon thereafter. So it caused a little bit of a problem with the town, but they took care of it. And here's a notice that appeared. So to the brick school, those living on McCarthy, Thayer, Ray, Church, and Pleasant Streets. To the Thayer school, that's how they divided up the kids. This appeared in 1902. They felt that all children who were entering the town school system could be accommodated in those grades as determined by the street they lived on. The article went on to say that it would be possible to accommodate the children entering the system in the 8th and 9th grade, and they were thereafter at liberty to enter their proper rooms in the Horace Mann School. Complete provision had not yet been made, though, for the grades 3 through 7, but the committee wished to ask the public for their patience, and they wanted to assure them they would act with the utmost promptitude, consistent with due reason and reflection. By the end of September, those students in grades 3 through 7 were placed in the Central Square School as previously discussed. There was another reason why they had that central school in the Franklin Furniture Building.
That was probably the first example of redistricting in Franklin.
Oh, I know it. And then in 1956, this parochial school opened up. In 1955, a fundraising drive was held by the parish, St. Mary's Parish, for the construction of a parochial school on the former Haywood Estate at the corner of Main Street and Pleasant Street. The following year, in 56, the 8-room classroom opened with only grades 1 and 2. And I was in grade 2. I was in grade 1 in the Ray School when they were building this. And there were no grades higher than there were no grades 3 through 8. Every year we graduated, they added that next grade. So we always had brand new books, brand new desks, and a brand new teacher. It was great. And then in 1958, the parish saw the need for a larger school, and then they added on the right side, and it literally doubled the size of the school. And then in 1972, the school closed due to declining enrollment. In 1995, the Benjamin Franklin Classical Charter School leased the building until the 2010 when they constructed their own school.
Joe?
Yep.
That school was also used as a bomb shelter.
Oh, it had the civil defense
Yes.
symbol on the side of
And
the building, right?
down in the basement where the cafeteria was,
Yep.
there was a whole storeroom full of canned goods
Really?
for the
Wow.
bomb shelter.
Wow. That was a sign of the times.
Yep, that was late 50s.
Yep, late 50s. That's right.
We went there for catechism class.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
Then we walk up the catechism
Yeah.
from
From catechism, yeah.
Davis there. We walk up to.
I did.
I'll just let you guys pass it back and forth.
Sorry.
That's okay. No, it's okay.
Yeah, catechism.
We actually got out of school early to walk to
Yeah,
catechism.
that's right.
Wow. Dean Academy. At the annual session of the Massachusetts Universalist Convention in Worcester in October of 1864, the subject of a state denominational school was brought before the council by Dr. A. Minor. He was the president of Tufts College. Dr. Oliver Dean of Franklin offered a tract of land as well as $10,000 toward the cost of Dean Hall and $50,000 as a permanent fund to build the school in Franklin. His offer was accepted. The school commenced with 44 pupils on October 1st of 1866, and they met in the vestry of the Universalist Church under Mr. T. G. Center as principal. That was before they built Dean Hall, the first Dean Hall. And the cornerstone for the first Dean Hall was laid in 1867, and it was dedicated the following May, 1868. And this is what it looked like. This is the first Dean Hall. And this is how it was originally constructed, and it was built right exactly where Dean Hall sits today. But on July 31st of 1872, it burnt to the ground, and the new Dean Hall was built immediately on the same footprint. Now, the Ray family contributed $100,000 toward the cost of the new building. And then this fire happened at the same time that the Universalists were in the process of building their new church next to Dean Hall. So it's like, wow. So.
Now, as the Ray family was donating that $100,000 towards this building, it also built another building right beside it, which is called the Ray Building.
Oh, okay. You're talking about well, which one is that? Huh?
So if you're looking at the new Dean Hall,
Yeah.
if we were standing in front of Dean Hall, just like
Okay.
this picture shows,
Yeah.
just to the right is a smaller building.
The science building?
It's in between, actually, kind of in the corner,
Oh.
and it has a rounded end to it. It's another unique kind of looking building.
Well, it's round on one end.
Yes.
That was they call that the science building.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not now. The Parmenter building
Oh, okay.
is now, but it may have been then. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool. And then the new Dean Hall was built, and it was dedicated on June 24th, 1874. Now, up until 1877, the school was open to both sexes, but the demand for a female-only school led to the trustees to establish this as an all-female school in 1877 with 50 pupils. But after 2 years, it went back to being a co-ed school. The main tower was lost in the hurricane of '38 and was never replaced. And that's what it looks like. Well, it looks like that. It looked like that in the 50s. Now we got the new big science building here, the Arthur Purse Science Building is here. Yep. And today it's Dean College. Actor Broderick Crawford went to Dean Academy back in the day, 1929. Now, educators. Here's one. She taught elementary school for many years, but you know, it seems to me that she was good for teaching something else too. I think.
I think she taught everybody in Franklin how to swim.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
See,
I remember that.
you remember that? 1962, the Mills brothers came to town with the circus. She commandeered an elephant and brought it down there to the pool.
I think they might have lent it to her.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And Anna Whitaker, I had her for the first grade at Ray School. Yep. Mary Wiggins, she was a teacher like 50 years, I think. She was, yeah, many years. May Lennon,
Miss Lennon.
she was a principal at Horace Mann Elementary School.
Her sister also was a teacher at Davis Thayer.
Who was?
Margaret.
Oh,
My sister Margaret.
Okay,
We
yep.
used to call her Benji
Yeah.
Benji? Oh, geez.
because she had hair like Benjamin Franklin.
Oh, geez. Wow. Helen Shea, she lived down on Dean Avenue. Yep. She was down at the Four Corners School. And Mrs. Donahue taught elementary grades at Ray School. Henry Bean, principal at high school, and for many years he was in the Franklin school system. And his sister Alice Bean, she taught for many years, physical ed and everything. Yeah.
She was a basketball coach.
Give her the microphone.
She was a basketball coach in Millis when my mother was in high school
Oh, no kidding.
before she came to Franklin.
Oh, wow. Okay. Benjamin Thomas was the superintendent of Franklin schools back when we were in high school. And Edith Metcalf, she was at the Brick School for many, many years. I'm not sure if she was related to Lorraine, but probably I'm sure all the Metcalfs were at some point. Here's a typical annual school report this one's from the year 1870, 1871. They're actually all online. It's interesting reading.
Joe, all the teachers were Miss. Were some of them married and we just called them Miss because it was the proper thing to do?
No, I
Because
think,
all our teachers all were.
yeah,
whether
I
it
think
was-
they were single. Yeah,
were
I think
all-
if they were married, they were misses. Yeah.
Oh,
A lot of them years ago were not allowed to be married.
Oh, really?
I had a friend that lived in Hudson and she was a teacher in Melrose
Yeah.
and she said she couldn't teach after she got
Are you
married.
kidding? They were not allowed to teach because they were married? Wow.
Well, that's not only true, but that was the same with women who worked at the phone company.
Huh.
They were expected to remain single. That was a contract of employment.
Are you kidding me? Wow. Huh.
I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't either. Maybe they figured if they're married, they're going to have kids and they're going to leave.
Yeah, I think that's it.
It probably is. That's probably what it was, yeah. Here's a graduation program from 1890. Look at that. And they had at the Morse Opera House. Morse Opera House was this place where they had a lot of graduations and things. When the church burnt down in 1900, the Catholic Church, they had mass over there at the Opera House until they fixed the school up. Yeah. And then the inside of the pamphlet, inside of the booklet. Yeah. That's quite a program. Now, today's schools, I didn't want to make this just about all the older schools. I did some research, and here's the Oak Street Elementary School, and this is the high school. Now, you can you look carefully, you can kind of see where the old high school was that we remember. And like you talked about the little area in the middle, but they definitely added on a lot of buildings otherwise, and it's quite a complex today. Now, this is the Oak Street Elementary School, the F.X. O'Regan Early Childhood Development Center, and the Horace Mann Middle School. That's at 224 Oak Street. And then at 500 Lincoln Street, we have the Helen Keller Elementary School and the Annie Sullivan Middle School. Kind of appropriate that the two of them, that was the Annie Sullivan, I assume, that worked with Helen Keller.
Yep.
I remember my grandfather was telling me that he took the streetcar from Franklin to Rentham one time. he was born in 1895, so he was probably about 9 or 10 years old, around 1905 or so. And he remembers seeing Helen Keller on a horse, and she said, "Wow, she was sitting up real straight and just going along." And yeah, he remembers seeing Helen Keller.
Joe, some of us coffee shop grade unwashed question, was there a reason why? Now, this school is now called the Oak Street School.
Yeah,
The Remington Jefferson School, where I worked,
yeah,
is now called the Washington Street School.
yeah.
What was there a reasoning for us to take these great and well-known and famous people's names off of these schools? Is it a politically correctness thing? Some of us talk about that and have no knowledge of why they decided that made sense.
That's a good
I
question.
can give you an opinion, Rick, but there probably isn't any real basis of fact for any of those decisions other than it was something to do.
Oh,
Did they think they was simplifying it for the kids?
I
For future, because they were. This came obviously with redistricting. You spoke to it earlier.
Yeah, I think it was more of a redistricting. Say that 5 times fast. Rebranding, and maybe an effort to localize versus, these names. Obviously, they're connected to famous people, but they don't really define the area. Again,
It's sort of
something to keep people busy.
It sort of allows us to forget our history. One more way of pushing our history into the back. It's
Yeah.
there's a sadness to some of that. I for one just feel
yeah.
that's all. These people were our history.
I know, yeah. And then the Benjamin Franklin Charter School, when they moved out of St. Mary's School, they built their own school. Excuse me. And that's where they are today. And then the Jefferson Elementary School and the Remington Middle School, that's down on Washington Street,
Yep.
right, yep.
Now the Washington. Street.
Remington is Leonard Remington. He was on the school committee.
Yeah, Russ.
So anybody got any questions or anything? No?
We asked them all.
Any questions, Jan?
Was the Franklin Academy a private school?
Of Benjamin
It
Franklin?
was on the corner of Union Street and Beaver Street, across from the Common and St. Mary's Church.
Oh, no, you mean St. Mary's?
That
Yeah.
was called the Franklin Academy, that
Oh,
house on the
oh.
corner.
Hmm.
That's where the bell from the old meeting house was originally.
Oh. That's a new one on me.
That's a good one.
Gee.
I suspect it was a private school when it opened
So,
because the term public education really didn't come about until Horace Mann really drove the process of providing education for everyone. So education back before, say, 1823, that time period was a privilege.
Okay.
can't remember when that
Yeah.
was a school.
Hmm.
It was I'm going to say the 1860s,
Wow.
but I'm not positive.
Well, that's a new one on me. Okay. Anybody? No other questions? I guess that's a wrap. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you for coming,
Thank you.
folks.
This program was made possible by your Franklin friends and neighbors, good folks just like you. Thanks for supporting Franklin TV. And thanks for watching.